Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So, this is gonna be an interesting video. The first thing is, I placed the quotation marks on the title and on everything for a very big reason. Because many people are seeing this as a versus, as a debate, as a fight, and I'm not sure if that's the right way to see this thing. Mostly because I don't believe in then YongYea came out on the versus ground, and I think because of that, that is a bad way. Although that may be the intent to have a debate, but most of the video you can see for yourself is gonna sound more like an interview where YongYea asks questions and Jason Schreier just talk. And you're gonna see him hit the same point, and that's the biggest point, and I think it is wrong. And that's why motivate me to make this video. Another point is, I want to, if you didn't watch the original video, please link on the description, on the top of the description this time, not like after my thing for watching and all that stuff. Go watch, and I wanted to propose you a little bit of a game. If you're watching the video, tab and go play something. Not something that really needs your attention, something that you can alt tab any moment. There will be some moments, then some declarations, then Jason Schreier will do, then you're gonna make the what the fuck face. After you do the what the fuck face, stop. Stop whatever you're doing, alt tab back to the video, go back and see YongYea reaction. This is gonna be a very fun game for you to make because, man, YongYea is a hero in my opinion for just the fact of how he handled this. Now, I'm gonna be placing some clips, not the full video, I'm gonna be chopping up and play some clips of moments that I find like he mostly hammered down the points that I want to talk about, and I'm going to be talking about. Full disclosure here, I'm editing the shit out of it. I'm chopping up. I will try to leave a little bit more of context than most of the people who are doing that. But I'm disclosing here, I do going to cut parts out, and if you want to see the full interview, the full context of the thing, go and watch the full video, then you can come back and watch this.
What is your stance? Where do you think one draws the line? Because there was that one moment when you talked about Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you expressed adamantly that this is, in your perspective, blown out of proportion, that this is fine, that this is not intrusive, versus others who are saying this is kind of bullshit. So where do you stand on that front?
Yeah. So I think microtransactions are a very complicated topic, and I, just as a personal interest, am much more inclined to talk about how did we get here? Why are companies doing this? Why are we at this point where it feels like every single game has to have all these add-ons on top of the already pricey $60 entry point?
Right.
That's in general what I prefer to talk about than just getting mad about the latest controversy.
Okay, let us start here. XP boost was not the biggest problem. We all can agree with that. It was a problem, and in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, everything piles up. We have a larger amount of problems. The first, to start the whole shebang here, we have the infinite amount of editions. We have Standard Edition, only the game. We have the Deluxe Edition, then we have the Gold Edition, the Gold Steelbook Edition, only physical, then we have the Ultimate Edition, and then we're probably gonna have like Collector's Edition and Hyper Olympian Edition. I'm just talking about the more basic ones. Take that basic with a grain of salt. Besides the simple gear pack, boost, naval, whatever, then the Deluxe came. The Steelbook is self-explanatory. Let us remind that in the Gold Edition forward, you got a 3-day early access. That's the new trending on the gaming industry right now. This was one point. there is many other points, and you point out another problem. You point out the microtransactions on this game.
So here's the
Yeah.
problem. The problem with the XP booster is that the fact that it exists just creates that seed of doubt in our minds and makes us wonder, oh my God, was this difficulty scaling built so they could sell us this $10 package? And that, I think, is it's a more insidious problem than the fact that the game has microtransactions. The fact that it plants a seed of doubt in your mind, and the fact that it's such a different form of commodity than just exchanging money for something. It's not quite the same as buying an outfit, which also, I mean, not enough people are talking about how egregious it is that you have to spend like $750 for a unicorn skin. That's a whole nother thing. But
is that earnable in game? Do you know?
You see, you two know there's other problems in a game. Of course, your opinion of the game literally overrides everything. By the fact that you believe the game is great, is amazing, is almost perfect, you will overlook this. But, mate, let us remind, Assassin's Creed had a lot of shit on it. Not only the pre-order stuff, not only the multiple editions, not only the season pass, not only the early access for people who pay more, not only the microtransactions, cosmetic or not. Let us remind you can buy crew, like ship crew, and that goes to your game. It is a single player game, but I don't know if I feel comfortable with the fact that I can buy what essentially is cheats. Like, I'm buying to double the XP gain. I'm paying, it's almost like paying for the ability to use cheat engine. So, with that in mind, let's not only remind, then they too did this. Yeah, tortillas, buy pizza rolls and get a fucking XP booster. So, yeah. Not only cosmetic microtransactions, not only resources in game, not only the ability to buy stuff, not only the ability to buy the season pass, not only the ability to pay more to play early, not only all of that, not only the merchandise, you still have the XP boosters. So, yeah, the XP booster was a thing that people talked about. But again, it was the drop that made the bucket flood. It was the stick that broke the cannon back. And you're gonna hear me saying these two things a lot on this time. So, they keep talking a little bit more about this topic, and I'm going to hold a sentence for later. But the fact is, I want to jump a little bit forward to a part where y'all get a little bit the hold of the conversation, and you're gonna see that that's not something that happened too much. Strangely enough, Jason is the one who we're talking more, maybe because he's the guest and he has more to talk about. Let's not get too much into that. But you're going to see, and I'm going to put that there, and I literally cut a larger part here because I want to make the bridge between the point that I was talking a second ago, minutes ago, about the amount of editions, all the costs that Assassin's Creed has for the player, to this moment on this discussion.
The thing is, people understand that Battlefront 2 is far worse than Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's just that I don't think that necessarily excuses what Assassin's Creed Odyssey is doing with the XP boosters. And I guess part of it is that different people have different criteria for what they deem acceptable. Like for example, I think if something is cosmetics, no random chance that you can just purchase directly, if it's reasonably priced and reasonably allowed to obtain via gameplay, it also helps if it's free to play versus single player, but mainly that first three criteria, I think then people kind of overlook it. Like Fortnite, not a lot of people are talking about how egregious Fortnite is. There's some segments who say, I think some of the skins are overpriced. But there is this system where you get the battle pass. You can sort of if you play a lot of the game, you can earn all of it and earn enough currency to buy the next battle pass. And so it encourages gameplay where you play and you earn the rewards. Whereas with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it affects gameplay, but there's no way to earn that via gameplay. It's just something that's paywalled for an additional $10 for a feature that some might desire. Even if you don't, per se, that doesn't mean that there aren't people who do desire that, who think that the game would be better off with that XP booster activated. And I don't think them expressing anger over that necessarily is unjustified or is sort of... They're not saying it's as bad as Battlefront 2, but they're also not going to say, hey, this is acceptable either. So to just say it's an annoyance is downplaying that.
When you say express anger, I mean, I think that's one of the real fundamental problems with the game industry right now is anger and this rage that is just cultivated and instilled and is just so constantly ubiquitous in the video game industry. This rage, this anger, like, oh my God, this $60 game that happens to be one of the best Assassin's Creeds by far, like this incredible open world RPG that is like so well designed and full of interesting stuff and humongous. You can spend 200 hours playing this. It is. Would you agree with me when I say that the video game industry right now and the quality of video games is as high as it's ever been?
Some people think this last bit, the don't you agree that the game industry is on the highest than it is in ever, is a little bit out of the left field. And well, since it's coming from Jason, it is from the left field, but jokes aside, no. The question itself is not from the left. Does not come from nowhere. It does come from one narrative. He's doing the amazing narrative there is. We are paying $6 for a game. We're paying the same $6 than we paid 10 years ago. I don't know if 10 years ago, but let's place 8 years ago, 5 years ago even. Games didn't adjust to inflation, and game costs go sky high. Look, don't take my word for it. Take June Sterling's word for it. He made a very in-depth breakdown of the fact that $6 are nothing more than the shelf price, is the standard pack, is your entry fee for the game. And we can see that. Assassin's Creed show us that. $60 is not the full game anymore. $60 is a piece of the game. If you enjoy, you have the DLC for more $40 if you get the season pass. If you don't want to grind, here are some XP boosters. If you want some cosmetic, give me $10 for each cosmetic. And pray by God that we don't decide to shove loot box on it. So yeah, this question does not come from the left field. This question doesn't come from nowhere. He's placing a narrative here. He's placing the narrative that games evolve from 10 years ago to now. And it did. But we too evolve. We too want more. And companies need to go there. And since they already found their many ways to monetize, besides the $60 price, they should get the flack. If they try to put all their hands on the cook jar, they gonna get slapped. And they gonna need, and like gamers gonna need to do that. And sorry to say, Jason, you sound like a nice guy, but companies don't listen to people when people are not brandishing torches and pitchforks. That is the big problem.
Video games are an incredible place.
Yeah, the fidelity is amazing.
Their graphical fidelity, they're hitting all these artistic bars.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, there's so much rage.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like looking at a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's $60. For $60, you are getting so much more and so much a better game than so many of the things. Like if you look back, I don't know how long you have been following the video game industry, but if you look back even 8 years ago, 10 years ago, at the types of games that were being released for the same exact price, it is like beyond belief how much better this is in every way, quantity and quality, right? And so we're at this point where it's it's hard for me to accept that there should be rage about these things. Like,
Okay, you see, the fact is, if you dissect, if you look everything that we are hearing here is simple. We should be happy because we are only paying $60 titles for the game. We're not having to pay more to play early. There's no microtransactions in our games. There is no XP boosters. There's no game being divided in 7 editions with content being spread throughout those editions with exclusive missions for pre-order. Really? That's the land that you're living in, because that's the only moment. Yeah, Assassin's Creed is a massive game. After a while, he says he can sunk 2,000 hours. For fuck's sake, I sunk 3,000 hours on Realm Grinder. Time sunken in a game does not directly mean the game is good. You can sunk so much time, that just means it's grind. Sometimes you will be doing quests because you need XP to do the quests that you really want, and that sucks. And as YongYea said during the video, having the choice, the real choice of like play the way you want's not that, because you have the fucking microtransactions, you have the XP boost. So, in the end, what our friend here is saying is, be fucking happy because they're only charging you $60. The fact is, they are not only charging us $60. They're charging us $60 for the shelf price. Again, I'm gonna try to leave the link on to that Inquisition on the description. And although many people will believe that Jim Sterling is not a good person to quote on this topic, I'm going to say I may too disagree with a lot of things that Jim Sterling say. A fucking shit ton of things, to be more honest. Mostly on the political side of view. But when it comes to the gaming industry, we have to agree he's right about a lot of stuff too. So, no, we're not paying $60. Few games nowadays on the AAA mark are we paying $60 for the game. A larger majority, we were paying $60 for the shelf price. If you want all the rest, shell out some cash. Now, I'm gonna start jumping a little bit more. I was more like entwined with the video, just topic by topic. Now I'm gonna be putting some of the moments of the big thing. The gamer rage. Because that is the point. He came here to push this thing. The gamer rage. The awful gamers with their pitchforks and their torches. And I do agree, sometimes we do utilize this as a very powerful tactic to change stuff. And you want to know why we use? I will tell you from my perspective. I'm not speaking for everyone, but because it's the only way it works. If we didn't go on that crusade, to lack of a better word, against Battlefront 2 loot box, loot box would not be this like bad word on the industry. Loot box would be skippy, would be happy, everyone would be crusading for it again. If we let Battlefront just go for it and say, well, we are annoyed then you have loot boxes, change it and leave it at that, nothing would happen. Battlefield 5 would have, Shadow of War would not take off their loot boxes. Disney would not get pissed off with EA by the loot boxes. A lot of games would have been launched with loot boxes. Maybe even Assassin's Creed would be launched with loot boxes. And I'm gonna be the first one to admit it. I already fall on that front. Because I'm against every type of loot boxes. I'm still fighting on Cadia while like the planet is blowing up in flames. But I'm going to say I already understood and I'm out of this fight. everyone already accept cosmetic loot box as an okay point. I'm the only one here on this hill fighting for it and screaming and saying this is bullshit. But I gonna die here saying that.
I've looked at your YouTube comments. Like it's the level of discourse that you have is different than the anger and rage and outrage and just toxicity that I'm seeing expressed by people. And I think that is a real problem. And I think people like you and me with a platform, I think one of our responsibilities, because we speak to these big audiences, is to say, hey, like maybe you don't need to be so angry. Maybe that anger is not really healthy for anybody.
Okay, so tweets, comments, interactions on the social media have influence, have weight. Where is this Discord when you talk early on the interview and you said this?
I mean, first of all, a lot of this, one of the problems here is that people just take tweets and assume that this is like they look at my Twitter feed and look at one of my tweets and say, oh my God, this is like this guy's chiseling his opinion in stone, as opposed to me just like writing a stray thought and putting it out there.
And here is a problem. I call that contradiction. When you take two things that are literally similar, very similar to that, aka social media comments, and something that you said, and there are people who take 4 hours of their day to literally stay mad on YouTube and on social media, not do that. But here you give your two different measures to the same thing. A tweet, something that you said, should be forgiven and forgot because it doesn't matter, something from the spur of the moment. While a comment on a YouTube video buried under 2 billion of other comments, no, that thing needs to be remembered. That thing needs to be plastered on the wall of China for generations to come to understand. So when we are invaded by whatever the fuck, the aliens see that YouTube comment of Austro whatever the fuck 290 calling you a cunt. Is that the thing? Or it is simply because you can be wrong and the people who have different opinions than you should fuck off. I think that is more likely. Am I right? That's the problem here. You want to take your thing, your tweets, your comments, everything that you do can be forgiven and forgotten. Should be forgiven and forgot. With what other people do? No. And I'm not gonna lie, there isn't a bunch of nasty people on YouTube. There is a bunch of nasty people on Twitter. There is a bunch of nasty people on the human race. That's why you don't fucking take those comments serious. On both sides of the fence. On Twitter side, on whatever social fucking media you want. There is a larger amount of tweets and comments than doesn't fucking matter. And those are drawn out. The fact that you acknowledge that, the fact that you go out of your fucking way, is the only fucking thing to give they weight. But, what can I say? I'm just a rage fueled gamer, entitled, because I want to fucking pay $60 and get my game without microtransactions. Without bullshit. But I should shut the fuck up and bow for the will of the great company. But more on that later. Because rage is one of the real problems here, huh?
People just want to leave the video game industry, and that's not entirely because of this outrage thing, but outrage is certainly a factor. I mean, there are other reasons, layoffs and crunch and underpay and all sorts of other issues that are all just part of that can all be single-handedly traced to these executives at big game publishers. But the outrage, I think, is very real and is a very real problem. And I think that's something that people like you and I need to be a little concerned about. And
people are leaving the industry. because the industry is fucking day over. Crunch time. Companies who literally don't give a fuck about they place they on the position to get the flack they should be having. And yeah, we know sometimes the PR guy who has to moderate the thread of the Battlefront 2 thread got a lot of shit. Anyone who tried to defend that got a lot of shit. And that's why they are leaving that. Sometimes after a while they take their break and they come back on a new studio, a small indie developer or a third party studio without the hands of the big publisher. But in the end, mate, they are getting out not because the rage, because I do believe sometimes even they can't buy the shit they are selling. So they kind of understood why they are receiving that flack.
Think about when we are talking to people is like, what is this coming from? Is it necessary? What sorts of effects is it having on people beyond these like short-term victories, quote unquote, like Battlefront 2 changing its ways?
Short-term victories? No, that was not a short-term victory. That was a long-term victory. We fought to fuck over microtransactions. Not entirely, but loot box in general. And not entirely, but I'm taking any win that we can get at this point. EA had to back down Battlefront. EA had to back down probably Anthem and on Battlefield. People were skeptical about Battlefield 5 until the last second, I don't doubt it. We made Disney, the big mouse on the fucking castle, give it a call to EA and ask what the shit's going on. Because that outrage, because that uncontrollable rage, then we took our standard and marched to the Holy Land. We made people believe that loot box and effect gameplay are bad. And people understood that. We made Warner took out from Shadow of War with that. Loot boxes are becoming a curse word on the industry. They starting to back down that shit. Because we are making that. Because the rage.
Like EA conferences are the most. I mean, I run our news team for Kotaku, so we have to cover all the news that comes out of them. And EA's conferences might be like the most terrible, like boring.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, I can't believe they turned Command and Conquer into a mobile game. Like that bummed me out. They feel like they're designed for investors, but I mean that is like that is a capitalism problem. That is a publicly traded company problem where these executives at the top are making.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know that Microsoft, Ubisoft, and Square Enix, all the other companies who kind of had a show during E3, they all were state-owned companies of our glorious masters of the Soviet Union. But for fuck's sake, calling this a capitalist problem is bullshit. EA was not boring because EA was a capitalist problem. EA is boring because EA is EA right now. And every fucking thing they say is boring. And as I said, everything they do has a fucking catch. So that's the problem.
But yeah, I mean, that's what really is like I don't know. Maybe I just feel like the rage is misguided. Maybe I just feel like the rage is maybe I've gotten too old and I just don't understand why people can get so mad when there's so many great video games. I think it's a lot of things for me.
No, I see what you mean from that perspective. But I think from the gamers, I think the reason they're so kind of sometimes direct and angry at you is because it feels like you're basically telling gamers to fuck off, and then when the companies do stuff like Battlefront 2...
Telling one person to fuck off.
Okay, but you know, like calling this man who basically asked a question at a Q&A panel that, yeah, it was rude, but I personally don't think it was petulant. I think it was an expression of I'm baffled, and I
It was
think in a
petulant,
public,
but it wasn't a big deal. I
sure,
mean, I think that like, I mean, I don't care that much about this guy and what he
yeah,
said. I just thought he was
no,
an
yeah, but
he was
mhm.
just rubbing the wrong way. Let's say
Sure,
it that way.
sure. But my point is, I guess for some gamers, it feels like the gamers rub you in the wrong way. But these, it's like when you talk about like the Battlefront 2 loot boxes, it almost feels like you just give them a tap on the wrist, say they could do better, and then but with the gamers, it's like, oh, you guys are acting like fools or immaturely, and it feels just from what's out there. It feels very skewed. Like it's
I
like
think it only feels that way to
there's
people
more
who don't
anger towards the
actually.
gamer than there is towards the corporations and the some of the game business models.
Yeah, I mean, I think people who would see things that way just don't actually follow my work.
Okay, first things first. Did you see on the beginning of this clip YongYea face about like I have to gather strength to keep this bullshit up? It is amazing. The best part of the entire original video is YongYea expression during all the bullshit. As I said, the best game is see how well your what the fuck face is comparable to YongYea what the fuck face. But again, Jason, I'm gonna follow your advice. I'm gonna talk to I'm gonna talk here as if I was talking to you face to face. The answer is not that you're getting old. There's not a problem here. The problem is you're literally detach yourself from gamers. Look, people who have those amazing backlogs. I do have a backlog, and I'm trying to clear. Like I don't do a good job on clearing backlog, but that's life. I have to say one thing. The problem is you detach so fucking far from the gamers. Then you're literally cut said on this interview, not with the words, but that was what you said. And people should be fucking thankful for Assassin's Creed. Its standard edition only costs $60. Besides the fact that there is microtransactions on cosmetic level, on gameplay affecting level on a single player game. Besides the fact there's thousands of editions. Besides the fact there was the early access to the people who paid more and all of that, the season pass, all of those fucking things, then the publisher, then Ubisoft tried to shove its dick on the cake here, and that was the problem. The problem is you lost touch with the people. That's why you like see YongYea talk. And you complain, and I'm gonna just take that part, that small clip. The fact that YongYea asks questions on Twitter like a normal person. That's the difference. He never said he's a game journalist. He's a guy on the internet doing videos and talking about stuff. He's a passionate gamer, different than you, who's just a guy who literally lost. You say you're passionate, but you're just passionate about your opinion, not the industry itself. Sorry to say, that's what end up being. If people disagree with your opinion, you tell they to fuck off. And that is something that happened during this discussion. They literally talk about the incident of the fuck off on the tweet, and that it is. Let's now remind you talk the Dragon Quest, I think? I don't know, Dragon's Crown, the Sorcerer's Incident. The fact is, you put your own opinion above what you're talking. And that is dangerous. When you do not literally, when you go to your lovely art code to Kotaku talking about the state of game industry, and you put your opinion before anything, without even a warning, like, it's not, hey, this is my personal opinion and this is the facts. Allow me to give you a very good example. Go watch some videos of Sid Alpha. He literally relays the facts, stop, give you a second to breathe, and said, and this is my opinion. Normally I start off my videos saying, hey, this is just my opinion on the subject. Normally other people on YouTube end the video saying, but this is just my opinion, leave your in the comments below. And yeah, that's the problem here. you shove your opinion in your articles, on your work. And, well, we know where your opinion are. Let us remind, during the rest of the video, YongYea video, there is like 3 or 4 or 7 other times, and you blame capitalism by the way the game industry are. And let's remind, if there was not capitalism, there would be not a gaming industry, so fuck right off. Now, that's why I'm going to say that Jim Sterling is a very, very better journalism than you are. And don't even say he's a gaming journalist. He's a showman. Don't disagree with that, but he's a better one because he's capable of like cutting his own political views most of the time, although sometimes it does slip in from the news that he's reporting. Something you don't have the capability of doing. Sorry to say. Now, you blame gamers. They saying they don't have the will to go and search for things. Allow me to say, supposedly you are the one the guy who has inside knowledge, supposed to tell them. When they literally see you going on and on and on about how people who are attracted by a video game character are a pedophile, they literally fuck right off. Now, yeah, if you ask me, would I say that to your face? Sure, without a fucking doubt. Normally, everything I say on this channel, I would say to the face of whoever I'm talking about. Being the company, what I normally talk about it, being an individual. Now, mate, I'm going to leave you on this final note. It doesn't fucking matter here. Gamer rage will keep happening. Gamers are pissed off. Each time a game come out on some companies, they literally, the first thing and then we go on is, this game is good, what is the catch? And that's going to keep happening, and every time a company fucks up, every time a company push a little bit further, we going to get our torches and our pitchforks and we gonna go on our mob mentality. And we're gonna go and scream and we're gonna downvote, comment on Reddit, we're gonna dislike a video more than to overwhelming numbers over the like on that trailer of the game. We gonna stand on stage and ask if this is an off-seasonal joke, because that's what we do, and that's the way that we change stuff. That's the way that we happen. The industry taught us that's the way that we do stuff. Again, if it was not for the outrage, Disney would not slap the fucking phone and kick the ass of EA and say, get these microtransactions out, or shit gonna be serious. And you might. You're trying your fucking damnedest to put the blame on gamers, without taking even a grain of blame yourself, because you stoke a lot of fires when you want. You go and point fingers at people and make the other people believe YongYea is a provocateur, is a guy who's stoking the flames. He's Alex Jones of gaming industry. And I would just say one thing, fella. He's the most calm guy that I ever saw. Me? Yeah. If you're talking about me, I would not disagree talking about a way to provoke the masses, and I'm not going to take that out. I do tend to be more emotive. Yeah, except when he's talking about Death Stranding and Metal Gear, he's mostly a calm person. He most presents the news without much of opinion. When he does place his own opinion, he does state. And I'm gonna cover that fact again. He has the right to ask questions on Twitter. He has that right because, well, it is his Twitter. If he feels then he has a question that was not answered by the company. He has the right. And now again, you look and say, then he has he has an obligation to not ask the question that if he knows what will happen, while you don't have the obligation to manner yourself. So again, you're placing weight now not only on different platforms but in the same platform for his tweet to your tweet. Your opinion should be if it is wrong, should be forgiven and forgot. Other persons should not even talk if they don't have the full scope of the history, while you can do any tweets out of the spur of the moment. Mate, fuck the right off. Stop with your double standards. Your opinion does not worth more than any other person. You're just another man on the internet writing about games. For fuck's sake. Now, with all of that being said, I gonna literally end this fucking bullshit. This video has like almost half an hour. Go watch the original video. And do the game where you try to match YongYea what the fuck's face, because you're gonna have a lot. And Jason, yeah, if you ask me, I would tell the same fucking thing that I told in this entire video to your fucking face. Sorry, maybe I'm just not that polite of a guy.
I mean, first of all, a lot of this, one of the problems here is that people just take tweets and assume that this is like they look at my Twitter feed and look at one of my tweets and say, oh my God, this is like, this guy's chiseling his opinion in stone.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. This was the video. If you enjoyed, leave it a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. If you have anything to say, please leave a comment. And if you want to see what the hell is gonna be coming next on this mess, subscribe. And see you guys on the next episode.